Week 2 for Dana White's Contender series, and we already have the matchup changes. That's what we've got here. It's an interesting one. It's a fun one, but originally it was supposed to be John Kunneman taking on Cam Rowston. Rowston you may be familiar with from last season, but here we are. We're back, and Rowston now has a new opponent because Kunneman pulled out, apparently a rib injury. That's what it says. We've got a new matchup. So Cam Rowston, 185-pound matchup against the replacement Brandon Holmes. Now he's got a little over a week for this matchup. As far as I understand, the experience difference is huge here because Cam Rowston, 11-3, 4-1 in his last 5, only 5 professional fights for Holmes. Now, he's undefeated as a pro and as an amateur, but there's a big difference in experience of 5-0 versus 11-3. That's more than double the fights for Rowston, almost triple the fights for Rowston as Holmes. So the experience edge definitely goes there early on. Now, when we look at their skills, let's break them down side by side. When we look at Rowston, we're going to start here. We're familiar with him, right? We've seen him before. He's a good striker with really good volume, and he mixes up his strikes well. So, the punches, the kicks, the knees, the elbows, all that good stuff. He's got a good knee up the middle, and the 1-1-2 is something I really like for him, which is interesting. We're going to talk about that in a minute here, but both fighters here really like those just straight shots down the middle. So that's interesting. His striking defense has been, so-so in the past. He's taller, so he kind of uses the lean back every so often, and that's not exactly what you want. That terror squad defense is not the way to go. In the grappling, he's pretty good, right? He's got a decent single leg. He's definitely more of a striker, but he's got a decent single leg, pretty good top control when he is on top. He's very active from his back. He'll work that butterfly guard to create space, and if that's not working for him, he'll use arm bars and triangles as an attempt to create space, so we can get those feet on the hips and push off and make space. Because the reason that's important is because he is a long and lanky kind of guy. It's hard to get your feet on the hips of your opponent a lot of times being that long. So what you got to do is you got to create space. Now, if you attack an arm bar or a triangle, defense for that a lot of times is to posture up and give the person on the bottom some space, so then you can get your feet on the hips. So you don't actually go for the submission. I mean, if they give it to you, you take it. But you don't go for the submission like full commit. You use it for them to pull out, and then you can say, okay, cool, got my feet on the hips, create space, get back up. So that's something that Ralston does really well. On the other side, Brandon Holmes. Now, like I said, he's only 5-0, and he's had an interesting run thus far. Watched his fights early this morning. Fight was just announced, as far as I know, overnight maybe or something. So here we are. He's a good striker with some power, right? He's got a handful of knockouts in there. I think 3 in his pro career, if I'm not mistaken. But he just kind of comes forward with this steady, just kind of walk you down kind of pressure and just steady 1-2s, right? 1s and 2s. Not necessarily a 1-2, but a lot of 1s, a lot of 2s. Sometimes it's a 1-2, but it's not just the machine gun 1-2s. It's very, just straight shots, just like that. Every so often, just kind of walks you down with it. After he has some success with the hands, that's when he starts to open up with the heavy kicks. However, we've seen this dude rattled a lot. Pretty bad too, but he recovers really quick. And we don't see him drop. So he's pretty durable, but we've seen him kind of do the old whoa every now and then. But he recovers quick and he still wins. So that's impressive. The fight with start with a G. Jiu-jitsu guy starts with a G. It'll come to me in a minute, maybe. He got hit with a spinning back fist in that one. He's clearly dominating the fight, winning the fight. 3rd round, whatever. He gets hit with a spinning back fist towards the end, and you see him kind of whoa. And I thought for sure he was about to. I mean, I knew he wasn't because I'd seen the record prior, but had I not seen that, I'd been oh man, this guy's about to get finished. But he recovers, right? He does a good job at that. It's something that you like to see for Holmes, but it's also not a good sign to see him getting rocked and wobbled so much already early in his career against guys that are, not bad by any means, but probably not UFC caliber guys. Good grappler though. His takedown defense, and basically you don't really get to see him do a ton of grappling, but his takedown defense is very solid. He's got a good sprawl, and he's really hard to control if you do get him down. The thing I'm most impressed with is his pace management. The dude's got good cardio, but it's more that he keeps the fight at whatever pace he wants it at. He's not letting you dictate what's going on or what level this fight is being fought at. He's a really good job at just saying, nope, we're sticking with this pace that I'm comfortable with, and we're going to fight there. He's done a really good job with that. So there's a lot to like about both sides here. Ultimately, I think this is just too much for Holmes too soon. I think this is a big step up for him. I think it's a problem that it's relatively short notice for him. And I think he's going to struggle with another guy that's willing to throw the ones and twos down the pipe and probably have the ability to get there first and maybe just a little more often. For me, I got to go Rowston. I think it's probably a decision, though, so that's interesting. But I've got to go Rowston. I think it's a good fight. Should be fun. Either guy could win. Holmes is definitely alive for a knockout. Dude does hit very hard, and with that way that he controls the pace, that is a possibility. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. On your way out, like the video. I do appreciate it very much. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out the rest of the videos on this playlist. I have all 5 of the matchups for week number 2 of Dana White's Contender Series, and I hope to see you there.